Hello guys, welcome back with Panda. Today I'll provide you an overview of platform called Streetwise. Now Streetwise is a real estate crowdfunding platform that allows you to invest in commercial real estate. And Streetwise is probably the oldest in this sector since they've been around since 2017. Two things that make Streetwise really stand out from the competition. One is their high dividend. You can get 8 to 10% on annual basis from Streetwise. And I'm going to be honest, this is very high even if we compare it to Fundrise or compare it to Rating Mogul. The other thing that makes them stand out is the fact that they are open to all investors. So whether you are accredited, non-accredited, or even if you are international investor, this platform is open for you. And I'm going to be honest, especially for international investors, this is one of the very few opportunities to invest in commercial real estate here in the United States. Now, this being said, one of the downsides from using Streetwise is you need a minimum of $5,095 just to go ahead and get started. And this is by far the highest minimum amount you need to go ahead and get started with in any of the real estate crowdfunding platform. Now, a few things I want to point out. Streetwise have a mobile app for iOS, which I'm going to be honest, from the look of it, it looks a little bit crappy. It seems to be built back in the 1980s, and it doesn't really excite me. I would never go ahead and download the app first. The only reason I may use the app is if I'm already invested in Streetwise. Now, aside from their app, which is only available on iOS, they have some other stuff that's actually worth looking at. One of them is they have more than $5 million of their very own money invested in the platform. So they have some skin in the game, make you comfortable. They are not only playing with your money, but they're playing with their own as well. And I cannot say this about many of the other real estate crowdfunding platforms out there. Now, I'm going to jump into the current offering in order to understand if you decided to put your money in Streetwise, where your money gonna really go. Now, Streetwise have two buildings in their portfolio, which make it a very small portfolio. One of these is the First Street Office Inc. And probably this is, I don't think Streetwise would ever have a better building to add to their property. Now, what they have here is Panera Bread headquarters. Now, Panera Bread is literally like one of the largest coffee shop here in America. So, if you know Starbucks, Dunkin' Donut, this Panera Bread may become number 3 as one of the most popular coffee shops here. And one of the main reasons I actually consider investing in Streetwise, I can have Panera Bread headquarters as one of my tenants and start making money off it. That would be seriously cool. Now, the other building they have is called Allied Solution Building. And as you can imagine, Allied Solution headquarters is here. So one of the things, I'm going to be honest, stand of Streetwise, having some of these tenants like headquarters of Panera Bread and Allied Solution is really, really a big deal. I cannot say this about most of the other REITs out there. They have few other tenants. This being said, Panera Bread and Allied Solution are responsible for more than 50% of the income coming to the street. So keep this in mind. There's, yes, an advantage of having Panera Bread headquarters and Allied Solution as your own tenants, but also you have much more exposure. So Panera Bread and Allied Solution said, we're going to move to our own buildings, or maybe they decided, hey, everybody working from home, maybe we need much smaller building. This might be a huge risk for people who actually own shares in Streetwise. Maybe you no longer can make 8 to 10%. And again, the fact that they've been providing 8 to 10% in dividend annually, there's no guarantee this is going to continue in the long term. This is just their historical performance. Now, this being said, again, I see the quality of the buildings. I think they have a really good quality buildings. I cannot see any other commercial real estate out there that have the same quality buildings that Streetwise have. But on the other hand is they are very slow into actually going in and expand their portfolio. So I mentioned they have 2 buildings, and this is the same 2 buildings they had back in 2017. So they did not add even a single more property. And for me, this is actually a problematic. I want to go ahead and invest in a REIT that actually expanding and adding more properties. So the more properties they add, the less exposure I have. And this is the only downside right now I see from investing in Streetwise. Now, let's go to About section where they have Q&A. Now, I'm going to be honest, the Q&A section is very useful. Pretty much any question coming to your mind, you will find an answer for it to here. So you probably never need to go to the SEC filling. How much minimum investment? As I highlighted, you actually need $5,095. If you are an international investor, have a question, you're going to find your answer here. Now, one of the things I want to point out regarding their fee, Their fees actually doesn't excite me. First, when you invest, 3% of the money you pay when you go ahead and get started goes to the sponsor. Okay, fine, they get 3%. After we go ahead and do that, what's gonna happen is they have a management fee of 2% on annual basis. And I understand it's coming from the dividend, but the fact that 2% is considered actually high when I compare it to other real estate crowdfunding platforms. So for me, I'm not really excited about their fees. I think it's a little bit high and I'm probably able to afford it because they are making a really good income from the REITs itself. Now, another thing I want to point out. There's again, I'm not gonna show the Q&A. You guys are more than welcome to go ahead and do this. There's much more Q&A for international investors. I highly recommend if you are international investors looking to go ahead and invest here, you should go ahead and go through their guide. But what I want to point out is the redemption program, because guess what? Yes, really nice. I can go ahead and get started and invest. But what happened if I needed to pull my money back? Now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys their own schedule. Here we go. If I decided to withdraw my money, let's say I invested in Streetwise now, and maybe, I don't know, in 5-6 months I need my money. Guess what? I cannot go ahead and sell my shares back to Streetwise. If I decided to do this between 1 to 2 years from now, so maybe next year I decided to go ahead and sell my share, guess what? I only get 90% of the value of my share. Now I'm gonna be honest, this is very concerning. To be fair, I understand this is a real estate crowdfunding platform and real estate is a long-term investment. Few years ago, if I'm looking at this redemption program, it completely makes sense to me because usually you need to invest anything between 3 to 5 years. But since then, a lot of changes have happened. There's a lot of competition, even commercial real estate crowdfunding platform. There's many of them out there. So this redemption program just doesn't stand out. Fundrise went ahead and changed their own. Realty Mogul went ahead and changed their own. The only one who's sticking with probably the most strict guideline is Streetwise. So no, I don't want to invest my money, and God forbid if I need my money in a year or two, I don't want to go ahead and give them as much as 10% of my very own shares just to withdraw my money. Now, the minimum time I need to wait to go ahead and withdraw my money is literally 5 years. Now, I'm going to be honest, it is like, I'm looking at it, usually whenever I invest in real estate, I don't intend to withdraw my money in 1 or 2 years. But I want to know is if I decided to withdraw for whatever reason, I should have a very fair redemption program. And I'm going to be honest, seeing this, like after 2 or 3 years, they still get 7.5 to 10% of my share. I cannot feel this or look at it as fair. Now, they do actually have an exception. If the stockholder, God forbid, pass away or became completely disabled, they will make an exception and they will go ahead and give you 100% of the value. So if somebody have $10,000 with them invested, and I don't know, by the time he pass away 2 years from now, it's worth $10,200. The heir or whoever gonna inherit it gonna get the full amount. Again, God forbid, we don't want anybody, dead or completely disabled, but it's good to know that they have this condition. But my overview of the preview, the redemption program, is just not excited. Now, I want to point out, if you are international investors investing here, the option for you to get your dividend etc. usually would be by the mail. And again, there's fees to actually send it to you. So you need to spend some time in order to understand this. I think if they send it by check, there's $5 fees for international investors. Or if they go ahead and send you the money using wire transfer, there's $10. This does not apply for people who are investing in America. There is zero fees applied to you. Here is my perspective regarding Streetwise. I believe if you are a new investor, non-accredited investor, this is probably not the platform for you. If you already have been investing, you are an experienced or more seasoned investor, Streetwise might be a good way for you to go ahead and more diversify your portfolio. I think Streetwise, with everything they are saying here, they are really more geared toward accredited investors or international investor. Like really, if I'm living overseas and I want to invest in the United States, this is a good way for me to go ahead and own a piece of one of the hottest real estate markets in the world. So yeah, for international investors, Streetwise probably is a very good platform. But for non-accredited, I'm looking at Lex, I'm looking at Fundrise, Realty Mogul. It's hard for me to say, no, don't use one of these platforms and come here and invest a huge amount of money just to get a piece. Honestly, I just don't see the value there. Right now, with the time making this video, I'm really not leaning toward investing with them. maybe in a few months or a few years I may change my view. But I'm looking at them right now. The minimum investment is $5,095. When I actually started looking at them back in 2020, they were only starting with $1,000. I hold back because I wanted to see how they're going to do in the pandemic. Then they increased it to $2,500. Then they increased it to $5,095. And it's like, why they keep increasing the minimum investment? And the only way I think about it is they're trying to kind of weed people who are not experienced so they have less trouble. Because just think about it. The lower the amount is, more people will invest. And usually you will have people who may have zero experience in real estate. And they probably will be very angry with stuff like the redemption plan of 5 years, right? For me, I understand it. I just don't like it. Somebody who is brand new, I've seen a lot of people who are brand new to real estate. They're gonna say, "Oh no, 5 years, or you're gonna take 90% or 10% of my NAV." They will get really upset. So this is the only take I have for Streetwise. So again, I think it's still a good platform overall, just not for everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you are not a subscriber. Thank you guys, and stay tuned with Wealthy Panda.